Hi, welcome to the Baby Sleep Magic podcast. My name is Chantal Murphy and today's episode is in regards to toddler tips, what to do in the event that your little one is battling you at nap time, bedtime. I'm just going to give you a few scenarios of my advice and my suggestions. So look, if you have a little one that is between the age of 18 months, 2.5, 3, and even some cases 4 years of age, what you ideally want them to do at this age is have one nap. Now, one nap could be anywhere between 11:30 till 2 p.m. If you are experiencing bedtime battles or quite a late bedtime, you either want to cap that nap to 45 minutes to an hour, if not even earlier, depending on the age of your child, or ensure that your little one is not sleeping beyond 2 p.m. I do work with a lot of families that experience this, and generally all we sometimes need to do is shorten the nap and ensure they're not sleeping in too late in the afternoon, and that can solve a lot of problems just with that alone. My other tip would be to ensure that your little one, regardless of the age, to be honest, is having dinner anywhere between 4:30 and 5. And I know that might seem quite early to a lot of people, but that's generally when you're going to get the best results, and your little one is going to be usually at their hungriest. And if you offer them food at that point, it's usually when they're going to eat it all, enjoy it, and finish it. And it could be the difference in just a simple half an hour, where if you tried to offer them, a full plate of food at 4:45 and they absolutely love it, eat it all, enjoy it, opposed to 5:15 where they have a few mouthfuls, rub their eyes, and they're just not interested anymore. It just simply can be that much of a difference in time. So timing is everything when it comes to dinner. If your little one is eating dinner between 4:30 and 5, but then not going to bed until, 6:30, 7 o'clock, in some cases 7:30, depending on their last nap, you may even want to offer not a midnight snack, but like a bedtime snack. And that might be a banana, a toasted sandwich, some porridge, some Weet Bix, just something to offer them a little bit of a top up before they go to bed. And that will also help ensure that they're full before they go to bed. It may help with any nighttime wakings that you might be dealing with at this age. And it may also help prevent early rising, because food is the number one contributor to all of that. And even in toddlers as well. So if you've still got a little one that is waking through the night, offering them a snack before they go to bed can obviously help with that. An ideal bedtime for toddlers is anywhere between 6:30 and 7, depending on your child's last nap. So look, if you have a little one that doesn't nap at all, a bedtime might be as early as 6 p.m, in some cases 6:30. However, if you do have a little one that's having a nap, and it depends on that nap, it could be anywhere between 6:37, and like I said, if it is exceeding 7:30, you may need to either cap the nap shorter or make sure you wake your little one up earlier. Because what can happen in that instance, your little one, if they're awake for too long, and especially after 7:30 p.m, they can get a second wind. And when they get a second wind, especially toddlers, they become hyper. They become a little bit crazy and giggly and cranky and crying and all into one. And nothing you try to do will get them to sleep. They're just wired. They've got all this energy and they are just ready to basically party, and it can last a couple of hours. So, and then by around 9 or sometimes 10 p.m, they hit a wall and they're finally asleep. But it's after a lot of heartache in between. So getting the timing right for bedtime is absolute key to success. My other tip, especially when it comes to bedtime, is to create a reading nook, because what you don't want to do, especially if it's a problem, is associate yourself with your child or your child's bed, because it's very difficult to get you away or break away in the event that you're already sitting on your child's bed reading bedtime stories for the night. So yeah, I see that quite a lot. So if you want to set up a reading nook, some examples might be like to set up in their bedroom. It doesn't need to be anywhere else, but something like some bean bags in the corner, or a little teepee hut that you might go into, or some pillows or a mat on the floor, just somewhere that you can go together to read some stories and make it exciting. If you don't already have a reading nook and you want to create one, get your toddler involved in helping set it up, because that will also help. Set it up cute. Put some fairy lights in there, some teddies in there, some extra cushions and pillows in there. It will just help with that bedtime story process towards the end of the night, especially if it's a nice place they want to be, and especially if they helped you create it as well. That'll help. Okay, so in the event that you have a toddler that gives you some bedtime battles, my few bits of advice here would be you could, this age, implement a nightlight. So children over the age of 2 to 2.5 do now start to have the sense of fear, and they have also started to develop, their imagination has started to increase. So they could genuinely be afraid of the dark. So if you wanted to implement a nightlight, now is probably a good idea. Another option, what you could start to do is just open the door slightly. You don't have to have it wide open, but what toddlers do tend to feel is a little bit of FOMO. They don't want to miss out, and they feel, especially if you've got a new sibling, they feel that they're missing out. So by opening the door, having a little light on, they can hear you. They don't necessarily can see you, but they can still feel like they're a little bit a part of the family, and that can just help when it comes to bedtime battles. Also tell your little one, especially if they're over the age of 2.5, tell them that you're going to come back. Tell them that you're going to come back and check on them. The big tip here is you've got to go back and check on them, because you want to instill the confidence that what you say, you're actually going to follow through and do. And then implement a reward chart for children over the age of 2.5, because children really thrive on reward, recognition, and positive behaviour. So they will do their best to try and make you happy. They don't want to do anything to annoy you. They usually do it for attention, and either good attention or bad attention. They don't really care. So by implementing a reward chart can certainly work to your advantage if they're old enough, and get them involved in that. Get them to write their name on it. Get them to stick it up where they want to stick it. When they've got to put the stickers on them, get them to put the stickers on so they take ownership of that reward chart. In the event that you are still feeding through the night, my suggestion, especially now you've got a child over the age of 12 months, they certainly don't need any food overnight unless there's a medical reason for it, would be to reduce the amount of milk that they're having. Now, if they're having a bottle, I would suggest to start at 120 mils and then reduce that by, 20 to 30 mils every couple of nights until you get down to 40 mils, and then you just basically reduce that, replace that with water. What you need to do in the meantime, though, is when you're reducing the milk overnight, make sure that you are increasing their calories through the day, because babies and toddlers are very good at controlling their own calories, and the more calories and food you can give them through the day is the reason why they won't need to wake up overnight. That's my big tip when it comes to night waking. Now, if you've got a little one that is waking up early and the food doesn't help, before bedtime snack isn't helping, a grow clock is probably your next best option, especially if your little one is around 2 to 2.5 years of age. It might take a little bit of role play on your end to get them to learn how to use it, what's expected, what it means. But children, especially this age that I'm talking about, they don't know the time, and they don't know how to tell the time, and they're not going to learn that anytime soon. So as soon as they wake up, they know they've been in bed for a long period of time. If they can see glimmers of light, even if their room's pitch black, they know they've been in that room for quite a while. They're ready to start their day, and they've got no other indication on whether or not it's appropriate to start or not, where a grow clock can show them that. As a quick brief idea, it just shows you the sun. There's a picture of the sun that comes up when you set it, and that's appropriate to start your day. So if you're happy for your child to start their day at 6, you would set the sun to come up at 6. And then obviously at night time, when it's ready for bed, pictures of stars come up on the clock, and that indicates to your little one that it's bedtime. Yeah, and then a lot of recognition and reward would come with that as well. When they do stay in their room until the sun comes up on their clock, you would, reward them for that, or give them lots of positive recognition for that. And look, if your little one is a really early riser, and I'm talking something like 4:30 or 5 a.m, and you do get a grow clock, you can't set it till 6 or 6:30 and expect them to just miraculously the next morning stay in bed till 6 or 6:30, because their body clock's not set for that, and that just is unrealistic and will not happen. However, what you could do is with the grow clock, set it to, if your child wakes at 5 o'clock, set it for 5:15. So all they've really got to wait is 15 minutes. And when you wake up at 5:15 and they wake up at 5:15 and they're allowed out of their room, you give them lots of praise and recognition and tell them how proud of them you are and how good they were because they followed the clock. And you do that for a couple of days at 5:15 so they know how it works and what their expectations are and what they've got to do. And then sneakily, over a period of time, you increase that time to your desired wake up time. Now, it might take a month or so, depending on what time your child is already waking. But yeah, if you do it gradually, so like I said, as an example, you would nudge it to 5:15 and you would maybe do that for 3 to 4, 5 mornings. And then you would nudge it to 5:30 and you would do that for possibly a week. And then you would do to 5:45 and then, eventually till 6 a.m. And then they would just learn, to either sleep in longer because they're not getting anything out of it, or they will just learn to be quiet, hopefully play in their room until their clock allows them to get up and start their day. Yeah, that's my few tips for toddlers, especially if you've got a little one aged between 18 months and even 4 years of age. This will be quite helpful. Yeah, look, if you do find this information helpful, please feel free to share it with another mum, friend, anyone experiencing bedtime battles with their little one. Yeah, and if you can also leave us a review on iTunes, that would be greatly appreciated because the more reviews that we get, it gives us more exposure and it's more families we can help. So thanks again for listening and I will be back in the next podcast.